In the previous lecture, we have seen what are checkboxes and how can we write AWT related code so that we can use checkboxes. We have also seen one event which is called as item listener. Okay, in which if I just check a particular checkbox, corresponding message is printed at the bottom. That means whichever checkbox is clicked, it will turn it to be true, otherwise false. And we have used get state and set state methods for that. We had seen the code last time. Let's continue with our discussion on different components of AWT. Today we shall see menu bar and menus. Okay, so a very important thing is for us to understand what are these different components. So you have this frame here. Okay, this is a frame, window frame. Now on the frame you have this menu bar. This is called as menu bar. Usually the menu bar, in some applications you can have more than one menu bars. Okay, so as you can see on this OneNote application that I have opened, this is my menu bar where you have different drawing pens which are shown. You know, there are different components which are shown. This is a menu bar that you can see here, right? Similarly, on this particular window here, this is a menu bar. Usually for any Windows application, menu bar houses different menus. So file is one menu, edit is another menu, contact us, about, you know, there are so many menus that we have. So this is called as a menu. Now, if you click on the menu, then there is a drawer which opens here, okay, and that contains different menu items which are there in the menu. So if you click on file, you will get this thing open, which is called as menu items getting displayed. So one of the menu items in the file menu is open, save, save as, exit, and so on. Similarly, if you click on edit, then you will have options. You will have menu items in edit menu. For example, cut, copy. Now when you say paste, paste itself is a sub menu. In edit, paste itself is a sub menu, because when you want to paste, there are different paste options. For example, you can paste a formatted text, or you can paste a plain text without any formatting. There are different options when you paste also. So paste actually is a sub menu which is there in edit menu. Now in this particular lecture, what we are going to do is we are going to see a program of how to create this menu AWT component called as menu on the frame, right? Now just before we see the program, we all know that the menus provide inevitable list of choice which allows user to act on the state of content of the application and the state of application itself. Now menus can also contain sub choices. I have just told you menus can also contain sub menus, right, which might provide granular control over each action. So now in order to create this menu, okay, Java AWT, it provides, you know, a header file that we are going to use, javax.swing. Okay, so we are going to use this header file called as javax.swing, and then to have this menu, there are different classes. For example, there is a class called as menu bar, there is a class called as menu. So you can create different menus like file menu, edit menu. So there is a class called as menu. There is a class called as menu item, in which you can create new objects of different menu item. For example, open you can create, another menu item that is an object called as save you can create, and so on. So all this we are going to see in the program. So here you can see I have already created a project, and we shall see I have commented all the statements here, and we shall remove the comments and see execution of each and every statement. Okay. Now as I have told you, javax.swing, this is one of the packages which we are going to use. Swing is a class, and since menu itself, or menu bar, menu, menu item, these are the classes which are part and parcel of AWT package. That's why I am also importing java.awt.start. So this is my class called as menu demo. Now in the constructor of this menu demo, I am going to write everything related to adding menu on the frame. Now as we have seen in the previous programs, everything starts by creating a frame. So first I will create a frame. I have called it as frame only. Okay, new frame I am creating, object name is frame, and I'm just giving the title to the frame, menu and menu bars. Fine. Next, again see now, what are the different menu bars that this particular frame can house? Okay, so here, as I told you that there is a class called as menu bar. So I'm using this, I'm creating an object called as menu bar of class menu bar. Okay, so menu bar here, object menu bar, it represents a menu bar on the frame. You can have more than one menu bar. So you can have menu bar 1, menu bar 2. You can have more than 2 menu bars, right? And so on, right? So you can see here on this NetBeans also, this file, edit, these are the menus. Whereas this bar itself is a menu bar. When you click on particular menu, what you get, these are all menu items that get opened. Many a times, open recent file itself is a menu, sub menu. But within the sub menu called as open recent file, you have different files that are opened. These are called as items, different menu items. Or for example, when you say, something like import project, you have different options here. So import project is a sub menu of the main menu that is called as file, and import project sub menu will have different menu item, that is Eclipse, from zip and so on. Whereas open project, open recent project, all these okay, these are the menu items, right? So the very first thing what we have done is we have created a menu bar by writing this particular statement. Now in our example over here, what I want to do is I want that this menu bar, it contains two menus. For example, one menu will be file and the other menu will be edit. Only two menus you will see on the final frame that we run. Okay, so I just want file menu and edit menu. Only two menus will be there, and there will be a sub menu under the edit menu which is called as paste. Okay, so I will be having under edit, as you can see, under edit. Now here there is only one paste option, but what I want to do is under menu I want to have a sub menu called as paste, so that when I go here, there are menu items which are opened here. So paste formatted and paste simple, something like that. So I want to do that. So in order to do all this, I have to first create menu. Okay, so I use class called as menu. Okay, using class called as menu, I create the first menu. I call it as file menu, and the name of this file menu is file. That means on the menu bar, the first menu, which is called as file menu, will be displayed, and the title of that particular file menu will be file. Okay, then I want another menu that is called as edit menu. So again I have created another object of menu class called as edit menu, right? And the name that I want to appear here is edit. That's why I have written here edit, right? So one is file menu and second one is edit menu. I just want two menus, file and edit, two menus, and the title of file menu should be file, title of edit menu should be edit, right? Now as I have told you that in the edit menu you will have cut and copy. These are the menu items, and along with cut and copy I want another sub menu that is called as paste to be present. Now I call it as sub menu because when I go to paste will show you two options. One is paste with the plain text, paste with the formatted text, right? So that's why I create another menu. That's a sub menu actually in the edit menu. I will call it as paste menu. Okay, so that means when you go to edit menu, click edit menu, the drop down option that comes, in that you will have an option called as paste, and paste itself will be a sub menu. So if you click on paste, you will get two menu items that are displayed. One will be plain text paste, second one will be formatted text paste. That's why I have created three menus. Two will appear on the menu bar, and third menu will be a sub menu of edit menu itself. Now let's see what are the options that I want to consider under file. Usually when you click on file, okay, usual thing is file, you will have something called as new option, then you will have something called as open option, then you will have something called as say save option, then save as option, and finally we have exit option. So we are going to have only these options. So now what we are going to write the code so that when you click file menu, what are the menu items that you want to display. Okay, so There is a class called as menu item. So first I create object called as item1 of type menu item, and what is my first menu item? That is called as new. So if I click on file, new should appear, the first menu item. Okay. Similarly, another menu item whose name is item2 I create open. Then I create another menu item, name of the object of menu item is item3. The option there will be save. Next menu item will be item4, name is item4. What will be displayed there is save as, and next will be fifth menu item. What will be displayed there is exit. Right. So these are actually 5 menu items that I have created, objects of menu item class that I have created. Each option, each object represents. So if you click on this particular item 1 in the interface, new dialog box will be opened. Open will, there is something called as file chooser dialog box that will be opened. Save as, and exit. Exit will exit from that particular menu. Right. Now let us go to second edit menu. Now under edit menu, I want only 3 options. One is one will be cut, second will be copy, and third will not be a single paste, rather it is a sub menu. I told you, paste menu. So let us have what are the different menu items under edit menu. So under edit menu, I have created menu item. I have named it as item 6. Object name is item 6. You will have cut option. Next menu item will be copy. Label object name is item 7. So cut and copy. Now along with this to cut and copy, as I have told you, there is another menu that's called as paste menu. Right? Now under menu, menu items under paste menu, what are the different menu items that you want to see under paste menu? Okay, so under paste menu, as I have told you, I have created another menu item here, item 8, that will show you plain text paste. So when you click on a paste menu, which is a sub menu under edit you will have a sub menu called as paste. When you click on that paste, here what should appear is two options, 2 menu items should appear. One is plain text paste, and second menu item that I want to appear, that the name of the object is item 9, I want to appear, and that should be formatted text paste. So at this moment, what I have done is, I will tell you, I have created my frame, I have created a menu bar. Okay, I have created 3 menus, but I am not told that these menus are supposed to be present within this menu bar, because in a frame you can have multiple menu bars. I have just created 1 menu bar. Then I have just created 3 menus, but I have not told the program that these menus have to be present in this menu bar and not any other menu bar. I am not told. Also, you see here, each menu will have menu items. I told you, I have created 9 menu items here, but I am not told the program, although I am writing here in comments that these are the menu items under file menu. I have not written a code. I am not telling the program yet which menu item should be under which menu. Okay, so all that I have to tell the software. So I will be writing code for that. Right? Now first, what I will do is, I will have to add to the first menu, which is the first menu, file menu. The first menu is file menu. Next I will add these menu items, because under file menu I want new, open, save as, and exit. So I will try to add all these menu items to file menu. So in order to do that, I can use .add. Okay, sorry, that is here. Okay, first I can do this file menu. The menu name is file menu, so I can say file menu dot add item 1. So the menu item whose name is item 1, that is new, this menu item will be added to file menu. So if you click file, you will see that add, there is a menu item called as called as new, that you will see. Similarly, I also add to the file menu the second item, that is item 2. What is item 2? Open. So open option will be also seen the moment you click file menu. Similarly, 3, 4 and 5 are also added to the file menu. What are 3, 4, 5? Save as, and exit. So this is how, using add option, file menu, that is menu name dot add method, and within this you are going to specify which are the objects which are to be added as menu items under that particular menu. So under file menu, okay, you are adding which objects? Item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So all this object called as new, open, save as and exit, you are going to add under file menu. Similarly, under edit menu and paste menu also I have to arrange these items. So now, okay, again under edit menu, you can see under edit menu I am adding 3 menu items, item 6, item 7. Okay, so under edit, the moment you click edit option or edit menu, item 6 and item 7, these are the menu items that should appear. Item 6 is what? It is cut. Item 7 is copy. And apart from these two menu items, I can also use the same add method to add a sub menu. You can see paste menu is a menu that I had created here. Paste menu is a menu that I have created here. Okay, so now what I am saying is within the edit menu, I will have 2 menu items plus there will be a sub menu called as paste menu. Now what are the contents of this paste menu? That also I need to specify. So see here, to this paste menu, using add method, I am adding 2 more menu items, item 8 and item 9. What is item 8? Item 8 is plain text paste, item 9 is formatted text paste. So that means the moment I click on paste menu, these 2 menu items will be displayed. So I have added all the, so far what we have done is we have created menu bar, we have created 3 menus, okay, then we have created we have created 9 menu items, then we have added, we have told using add method, we have told the program which menu item should be placed under which menus. Okay, so that we have specified. So these are all the items to be added under file menu, these are all under edit menu, and edit menu has a paste menu, sub menu. So these are the items, the menu items that are supposed to be pasted under paste menu. Now, very important thing, you have created a menu, you have told which menu item should be present in which file menu, but have you specified which out of these different file menus, which menus out of these 3 menus, which are the menus that should be appearing on the menu bar? You have not specified yet. Okay, so that you will have to specify here. So I will say menu bar dot add file menu, so that file menu along with all the items, menu items will be added to menu bar. Similarly, I want another edit menu also to appear on menu bar. So I say menu bar dot add file menu bar dot add edit menu. Okay, now, so at this moment what we have done, we have a frame component, we have a menu bar component, and all the menus and menu items are added to the menu bar. But have you yet added this menu bar onto the frame? Have you yet added this menu bar onto the frame? Not yet. So now I'll be writing the code. So I'm adding the menu bar to the frame by writing this frame dot set menu bar is a method, and I'm giving the title of the menu bar, the variable name or the object name of the menu bar as a parameter here. So by writing this code, what will happen? On the frame, the menu bar itself, the big component called as menu bar itself will be added to the frame. Right? Then as usual, we have seen in other codes, I am specifying what should be the size of the frame. So it is 400 by 150. Again, I am specifying what should be the layout of this frame. Right now I am not talking anything about layout, so we are writing null here. But in the next discussions, we will see what are what are layout managers and which layout we can use for which kind of applications. That time I will speak more about this layout. Okay, right now we are keeping it as a default layout. I am just writing here null, and then the frame should be visible. So I am using this set visible method and setting it to true. Okay, so after doing this, I am saving the program and I am running it. So as you can see, the frame's name should be menu and menu bar. So you can see this is the frame that is created, menu and menu bar. This is that menu bar which we are talking about, gray color menu bar. As we know, there are 3 menus that we created: file, edit and paste. Okay, however, to the menu bar, you can see here, to the menu bar we have added only 2 menus, file menu and edit menu. So you can see file menu and edit menu. File and edit are basically the names of those menus which we specified here. File menu's name is file, edit menu's name is edit. So this name should be appearing. Then we also specified which are the items that should be present under file menu. So we said under file menu item 1 to 5 should be displayed. That is new, open, save, save as and exit. So if you click on file, you see new, open, save, save as and exit getting displayed. Similarly, we have also specified under edit menu which are the items to be displayed, menu items. So under edit menu item 6, 7 and paste menu should, what is 6, 7? Cut, copy and paste menu. So if I click here, you see cut is there, copy is there, and this is the paste menu. Now under paste menu you see plain text paste and formatted text paste option gets displayed. Okay. Now how it comes, because we have also specified paste menu. Under paste menu, these are the menu items, item 9 and item 8 should be displayed. So this is how I can create a interactive menu bar in your frame. Now just to make it complete, I am showing you how we can use different event handling options, how we can use them, okay, to use. I mean, if I click on open, basically a file chooser dialog box should be open. If I click on new, okay, then that dialog box where we are going to create a new file, that to be open. Okay, so all this is basically a part of event. Okay, and we are going to use action listener to listen to this event. Okay, so just for an example, I am showing you what will happen if I click on open option. Okay, if I click on open option, what should happen? Right now nothing is happening because we have not defined any events, right? Now, so I am adding a small line here. Please note, I am saying item 2 dot add action listener. So add action listener is a method that will add the action listener. Action listener is the object that will note that okay, a particular event has occurred and it will take the corresponding action. Now I am saying item 2 dot add action listener. What is item 2? Item 2 happens to be the open. So what I am saying is if I click on open, what should happen? Now, so in the brackets over here, okay, in the brackets of that particular method, we are giving input here. Now this is called as lambda expressions. Now lambda expression we are going to discuss later on, but I am just showing you. So action listener is the action listener, okay, that is going to execute this full code. You can see here compound statement, it starts here, it ends here. Now what it is going to do, JFileChooser is a class, JFileChooser is a class, okay, which has an object. When created, it is going to open a file chooser dialog box. We will see that, right? It will open the file chooser dialog box, and then see this object of JFileChooser, I've named it as chooser only. It has a method within it that is called as show open dialog. So this show open dialog method is going to open the open dialog box. Okay. So let's include this. Let's save this and let's run that particular program. Okay, I'll just stop the execution and I will rerun this program. I will say run. Notice that now I have included this particular action listener. Okay, action listener object E basically does what? It creates an object of class JFileChooser, okay, which ultimately is used to choose a particular file that is to be opened, and then after this line there is another line. This chooser object is going to call a method called as show open dialog box. Show open dialog box is going to open and show you a open dialog box, and all this, both this line, this is the first line, this is the second line, together we have placed it in compound statements here. Okay, and the action listener event E, okay, is it is pointing to this particular thing. So this is basically called as lambda expression, which we are going to see later. Okay, so what happens if we include this? So if I click on file and now if I click on open, what will happen? Add action listener is going to listen the event that item 2, which is open menu item has been clicked and it is going to take particular action. So if I click on open now, see, it opens the dialog box. This is called as open dialog box. Why this is open? Because the moment I action listener listen to the event that open menu item is clicked, it is going to take the action. What is the action? It is going to create a chooser object. Chooser object in turn is going to call the method called as show open dialog box, and that's how this open dialog box gets opened. Right? This is just one example. You can add more action listeners here for each of the item. For example, for new you can add, okay, so that a new file, this chooser, basically chooser object has, I'll just show you this object called as chooser. It has different methods. You see, it can add a component, okay, it can show different things. For example, it can show a dialog, it can open a dialog box, it can show save dialog box. Save dialog box is used where, suppose I choose this, okay, and there is a semicolon here also. If I save this, I stop the previous execution. If I run this again, let's see. Now I am doing it for the same item 2. So what I am trying to do here is, if the item 2, that is open menu item, is clicked, it will, instead of showing you the open dialog box, it is going to show you the save as dialog box, something like this. See, it is going to show you another dialog box wherein you can save the file. This is called as save as, wherein you can type the name and you can say save. That dialog box can be opened. Okay. So this way you can use different inbuilt methods which are there for object of JFileChooser, so that different dialog boxes can be opened. Similarly, different files also can be opened, and so on. So you can try this, right? So this is how a menu bar and different menu items can be used. Now the most important thing so far, see students, what we have done is, so far we have seen so many programs. We have seen a program, just now we saw a program for menu bars, we have seen program for check boxes, we have seen program for adding buttons, labels, for canvas, adding canvas, and so many components we have seen. But there is one problem that we have faced for all these different programs. Okay. So when you talk about the window frame, AWT window frame, this is a window frame. We have seen that the moment we click this cancel button, okay, the moment we click this cancel button, I want to close actually the frame. It does not allow me to do this. Okay, it does not allow me to do this. So I can minimize. You can see when you run. See, this is basically your frame from the output of the previous program. So see, everything happens. You can maximize, it works. You can restore, it works. You can minimize, it works. But the moment you click this close cancellation, it does not happen. Unfortunately, AWT, okay, it does not have inbuilt code for this closing frame. If you want to close the frame, then you need a separate code that is to be written, and there is a class called as window adapter that we have to use in order to provide the functionality for closing an AWT window. Now, Java Swing is an advanced tool which is based on AWT, but we are not going to go through that Java Swing. But just for your reference, please note this Java Swing, it provides a very easy method to allow a window being closed by clicking red cross button. We have just seen. Okay, so Java Swing has a functionality wherein you can directly click on this red cross button, which is a close button. The moment you click, the window gets closed. However, your AWT, it does not have this support. So in order to close a window, there is an event that we need to register, and that's called as window event. Okay, and we should also use a class called as window adapter class for the same. So now, without wasting time, let us see a program. Now what are the different things that you're going to use? One, since I am talking about frame, I am importing a file called as frame from java.awt. Now, java.awt.event, this package, it has two classes. One is called as window adapter, a very important class that we are going to use, which has the functionality, the code required for closing the window. Also, clicking the close button itself, it is basically an event. So what kind of event it is? It is called as window event. So we require this class also, window event class, which is present in the same java.awt.event package. So we require these two extra import statements apart from your awt.frame. Okay. Now this is my class called as closing frame demo, and it should extend Windows adapter class. Otherwise, if it does not extend window adapter class, if it does not inherit window adapter class, you will not be able to use the inbuilt methods and inbuilt things which are part and parcel of Windows adapter class within your own class. Clear? So then I create a frame F. Now this is the constructor of my closing frame demo class. This is a constructor, and the code related to closing I am going to write within this particular constructor. First, I am going to create a new frame, F equal to new frame. The name of the frame is closing window frame. Next, once the frame is created, I have to add the window listener for closing the window. Basically what happens, whenever you are going to click on the close button of the frame, the event is generated, that is called as window event. But there has to be a listener object who should be listening to this event so that it can take an action. So in this line of code here, I am saying f dot add window listener. Add window listener method, what it does is it adds a window, or it registers a window listener object to the frame, so that now if somebody clicks on a close button, which is a window event, this listener object is going to listen to this event and take a particular action. Okay. Then apart from this registering of the window listener event, we are setting the size of the frame to 500 by 350. Then again f dot set layout null. I will talk about this layout later on. And f dot set visible true. These three lines of the code are same. Only one small thing that I have done is I have registered window listener to this particular frame by using add window listener method. Now, as I have told you, window adapter class, it has all the functionality that is required, all the methods, inbuilt methods which are required to close a particular frame. So now what we are going to do is we are going to override the method called as window closing method. Okay, we are going to write our code there. So this window closing method of window adapter, it takes a window event as the input object. Okay, window closing is a method of window adapter class. This method is basically contains the functionality of closing a particular frame. As an input, it takes the Windows event. Why? Because it will listen to this event, and once the event E occurs, then it is going to execute these lines. Now, what actually window closing method will do? First, what is dispose method? So f dot dispose. So this frame will be disposed. That means the frame, the moment you click on the close button, you will the frame will go. Okay, it will disappear. Okay, so that's a dispose method. And then system dot exit 0. Now we have already seen what is exit 0 in C++. In order to use exit 0 functionality, we use a class called as system. So we say system dot exit 0. Okay, so it will exit. I will run this code. So and then I in static void main I just create object of close frame demo, the class that I've created. Okay. So again I'm repeating. First, I require two import statements. One from java.awt.event package, window adapter class, which has all the functionality pertaining to closing the window. That class has to be imported. Second, there is a method which is called as window closing method. This method contains the code that has to be executed if you want to close the file. Now this window closing method itself takes an object of window event class. Window event is an event, right? So that's why I require another import statement to import the class called as window event, right? Now the class that I am creating, it should inherit or extend this window adapter class. Only then you can override the method called as window closing. Now in the constructor of this particular class that I've created, I create a new frame. Using add window listener, I am just registering a listener object called as window listener to the frame that I've created. This listener object will listen for the event, and the moment click event occurs on the close window, it will on the close button, it will take necessary action. And what is the action? Action will be this window closing. So the moment close button is clicked, okay, it will take the action f dot dispose. That means that particular frame that we are seeing, it will be disposed. It will not be seen, and system dot exit, it will exit. Okay. So I run this. Now you see, this is your frame. We had seen that minimize, maximize all works, but close button it never worked. But now if I close this, what will happen? Two things will happen. First, f dot dispose, this frame will be disposed, and it will also exit the program, the GUI program which is there here. See, right? So this is how you can add this to adapter and event classes, window adapter, window event classes, and by overriding window closing method, you can add a functionality of closing a frame. Finally, I speak about something called as layout managers. Now, in past programs, the moment I used to say frame.set layout, I used to write inside null. And every time I used to say that I am going to discuss about this later on. Layout managers are very important, and I am going to discuss it now. What is a layout manager? Layout manager decides how the different components on your frame, how they will appear. Okay, what will be the layout? Now layouts can be of different types. You have a flow layout. Okay, so flow layout is basically the default layout. Basically this is something like a text layout. So whenever you type your text, right, it usually follows certain layout. For example, if you say center, that text will be aligned to the center. If you say left, the text will be aligned to the left, entire text. If you say right, it will be aligned to the right, and so on. So, so it just works how text is arranged in text editor. So flow layout, it basically works just exactly how text is arranged in a text editor. So we can align the text in a particular direction, for example, align left, right, center, and so on. So this is basically the first kind of layout, which is called as flow layout. Okay, we are going to see flow layout. Okay, now students, see, for using any layouts, okay, java.awt package itself contains all those classes. Now since I am going to use explicitly flow layout as a layout manager, I am importing that. I am saying import java.awt.flow layout. So it is going to import the class called as flow layout. Right? Now this is my class. Now within the constructor, what I am doing is, see, first I am creating a frame. F is a frame that I have created. And I am creating 4 labels, label 1, 2, 3, 4, and these labels I am just giving the name as 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically 4 labels will be created. I have not yet added them to the frame. So next, using add method of the frame, I will say f.add label 1, f.add label 2, label 3, label 4. Now it is worthwhile to note that as I am going to add these labels onto the frame, what is the layout that it will follow, right? There has to be some layout to be followed, right? Whether the labels that will appear, will they appear one after the other, one below the other, or will they appear on the same line one after the other, or will they appear to the left hand side of that 0, 0 coordinate of the frame, or to the right hand side, or to the bottom, and so on, right? So to define that, where this, we have already added the labels onto the frame. Now how should be the layout? For that there is a method called as set layout. So I am just saying this is the only extra sentence that I have written. Apart from that, everything else is the same. Adding labels we have already seen in the past programs. This is the only one line that we have to add. So f dot set layout, I am creating a new object of flow layout. Now what is flow layout? It's a class that we have imported, flow layout. Flow layout is one type of layout which we are discussing right now. Correct? So then I am just saying here, so f dot set layout, new flow layout, and flow layout class, it has the static fields, different static fields. I'll just show you what are the different static fields that are present. So flow layout dot, if you say, you have something called as center. Now this static, just see, it is public static final int. Okay, center equal to 1. So it's a static field present in flow layout class. What it does, this value indicates that each row of the component should be centered. Each row, suppose there are multiple rows, each row will be centered. So I'll just use this center. I will save the program, and rest everything is same. I am setting the size of the frame and I am making the frame visible. Okay, and then here in void main I am creating object of class flow layout demo and I am running the program. Everything else is same. Only this one line is different. So let me run this and see. You see the labels 1, 2, 3, 4, it appears, since I said flow layout center, it is appearing to the center of the frame. Exactly to the center of the frame. Now I will stop running this particular frame. Okay, yes, and now I will use some other option. So suppose say flow layout dot, I use the second static field, say left. I save and I run. So now you can see on the frame the labels that you added, the flow layout will arrange them to the left alignment, left with respect to the center 0, 0 of this particular frame. Fine. So again I will stop running this particular frame, and now I will use another option. If I say dot right, save and run, you can see it is now aligned to the right of the frame. So these are different static methods which you have. Okay, similarly you can try other not method, these are different static fields which are there. So center is there, then again there is leading. What is leading? This value indicates that each row of component should be justified to the leading edge of the container's orientation. Example, to the left, in left to right orientation. Suppose the orientation is left to right orientation, then the thing should appear on the left hand side, and so on. So we usually use one of these. Leading is there, trailing is there. Trailing is exactly opposite to leading. Center, left and right. These are the static fields which are available in flow layout class. So we can use one of them, okay, so that our components will be arranged according to the flow that we have mentioned here. So this is how we can use the flow layout. It is basically first type of layout manager. Okay, it's a default kind of layout manager, flow layout. Next we have border layout. Now you have seen the web pages. Whenever we have a web page, we will have something like, you can see here you can have something like a banner of the page. Then you will have a left pane where you will have different buttons will be there to select different options, or you will have a right pane here where you will have some advertises or maybe some calendar or something that can be displayed. You have a bottom here. At the bottom also you will have a component wherein you can have your taskbar. You can have your taskbar, different links can be shown here, and towards the center you will have the editor, or maybe you will have something like the text or some information about your web page, or web page content will be shown here. So basically this kind of layout is called as a border layout. It enables you to have different components placed at different places. Basically border layout, it divides your screen, the frame, into 5 parts. This is called as north part, this is called as west part, this is called as east, south, and there is a center part. So without wasting time, let us see how we can have this border layout implementation. Okay, as I have told you, basically in this example here, I will be adding buttons. So I will add 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 buttons I will be adding just to show you a demo. That's why I am importing java.awt.button. Okay, so two import statements. One is to import the frame itself, second is to import a button itself, because I will be placing AWT component called as button. 5 buttons at 5 different locations. Now, like what I said about the flow layout, here you will have extra import statement. So java.awt also has a class for the border layout, and the class name is border layout itself. Okay, so now this is my class border layout demo. This is the constructor of my class, and all the code will be written here. So apart from the normal frame code, only one thing that I am going to show you is this. Okay, let me just start with the code. First, F is the frame that I have created. The name of the frame is border layout frame. Fine. Next, I am adding, see, I am creating buttons B1, B2, B3, B4, B5, and the name that will be printed on each of the button will be north, south, east, west and center. So I am creating 5 buttons using a class called as button. We have seen it previously. Now these buttons have to be added onto the frame. Now how it will be added? So your layout will decide how it will be added. Since I am using border layout, okay, I am just saying f.add the first button B1 where I want to add comma border layout dot north. Now similar to the center, left, right, which were the static fields present in flow layout class, similarly in border layout class there are static fields. Which are the static fields? North, south, east, west and center. There are 5 static fields which are there, which are given, available, made available in border layout class. So what I am saying is f.add b1, that means I want to add this button 1 whose name is north. Where I want to add it? In the border layouts north place, or in the part called as north I want to add this first button. B2, which is my second button whose name is south, where I want to place it? In the border layout, in the region called as south, I want to place this button 2. Similarly, button 3, in the border layouts region called as east, I want to place this button 3. Button 4, I want to place it in the region called as west of border layout. And button 5, I want to place it in the region called as center of border layout. Now here, just for the demo sake, I have shown you buttons, but you can literally have any different components like text fields. You can have buttons, anything based on, using this particular add method and using the layout, border layout. You can place different components at different locations or different in the different parts of this border layout. So I have added 5 buttons in 5 different parts of the layout. And then I am just saying I am setting the size of the frame as 400 by 300 and I am setting it as visible. Okay. Then in public static void main I am just creating object of the border layout demo class and it will run. So I will just run this. So this is the border layout that I was talking about. You can see these are all buttons. So I can click north, west, east, center, east and south. So 5 buttons that I had created. The name of the button is what you can see here: west, center, north, east and south. These were the name given to the button. They have been placed in the one of the 5 regions of the border layout. Last we are going to speak about the grid layout. Now grid layout, as the name suggests, it's a 2D structure in which components are aligned in rows and columns. Now, if we provide a number of columns at 0, then the length of the rows allowed will be infinite. Now for example, I'll just show you a code of how to create a 3x3 grid layout. So this is a grid layout. It will appear like a grid. So you can add different buttons on different places in the grid. Okay. So quickly we'll see that code. grid layout. So now for grid layout, again I'll be adding buttons only. So I use this import java.awt.button, awt.frame. Now since I'm using grid layout, there's a class called as grid layout present in java.awt package, right? Now I'm creating a new frame. Now I'm setting the layout of the frame. New grid layout 3 by 4. That means 3 rows will be there, 4 columns will be there. Now in this for loop, I am trying to place 10 buttons. Okay, see, in every iteration, I am creating a new button. The name of the button will be string.value of I. So for I equal to 0, the name of the button here for the first iteration will be 0, which is converted to string. Okay, so for every iteration, I am creating a new button and then I am adding that button to the frame. Second iteration, again I am creating a button, adding that button to the frame. So this way, button whose name is 1 will be added to the frame, but then second iteration, button whose name is 2 will be added to the frame, and so on. So from 0 to 10, these many buttons will be added to the frame. Now the question is how this button will be added to the frame. So since I am using grid layout, every cell of the grid starting from 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, for every of this section, one button will be placed as we go into the iteration. And 2 more lines that we usually write, that is I am setting the size of the frame to 400 by 300 and I am making this frame set visible to true. And then in main I am just going to create an object of my class called as grid layout demo that I have created. When I run this code, you will see that a grid layout frame, see these are the buttons that we created in every iteration. The first iteration button is this, second, third, fourth, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. So actually from 0 to less than equal to 10, total 11 buttons we have created. And how they are placed? First button is here, second button is here, third, fourth, 5th, 6th and so on. Basically this is 3 by 4 layout. So there are 3 rows and 4 columns that we have created. So this is how different, these are basically 3 very important types of layouts that you can have using layout managers in AWT.